Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about my new Chimera team with Bambus. I built him yesterday on stream, and now I actually had a chance to use him and run Chimera, and it is my new personal best in terms of Chimera trials. 21 trials, there are 27 in total, and I was able to do 21, and I actually missed 2 trials that this team can do. So the maximum amount of trials this team can do are 23. Pretty amazing if you ask me. And I know I'm using Fina and Galatea here, which is not really accessible for most players, but I want to showcase or show you how good Bambus is. He was really the missing part to this team to achieve those trials. That is kind of the thing that I want to highlight here. And yeah, he's just amazing, okay? He's definitely moving up to the top tier supports for Chimera now. And there are a few reasons for that, but I'm going to show you that on the run. I have a recorded run, so yeah, let's jump right into it. So yeah, the cool thing about Bambus is that he provides, so many buffs. He provides shield, increased accuracy, increased attack, free buffs, and then also free debuffs. That's 6 things in total, right? 4 trials. You need all those things for specific trials. But then he also does a very special thing with his passive, which is transferring debuffs. And, that kind of makes him one of the best support champions that we have right now in the entire game. He's very similar to a Riho, where Riho places a few other debuffs, but she also has that passive where she reflects debuffs, and that is very interesting. But also the decreased accuracy seems not that strong, but in Chimera it really is helping a lot and helps you to resist a lot of things, and makes your life a lot easier. The ultimate form does all these buff stripping stuff, provoking, and even the line form is placing decreased defense and weaken, and then the Viper form is placing poisons and stuns and trying to control you. And that decreased accuracy is really helping your team to survive. Alongside with the decreased attack, which is lowering the damage already, then the decreased accuracy, lowering the chance to get debuffed and all that. It is quite amazing how much survivability he provides to the team. Really insane. And then on top of that, he has a decreased speed on the A1, so no cooldown. You can just keep it up all the time. Now going into the Ram form, my Bambus had actually the lowest crit damage, but here on the first cycle I still had the crit damage buff on Bambus and it ran out on Fina, so the Ram form will target Fina here, but on the second time, I don't have a crit damage buff, and then Bambus will get targeted. So that is one thing that isn't shown here. Bambus is my dual target, okay, with the lowest crit damage. And yeah, my main goal here is to place debuffs with the increased accuracy, but also damage the Chimera while having fear on her. These things are kind of like the ones I'm focusing on. But the most important part is damaging the Chimera with fear on. That is the most important part here, because we need to complete easy and normal to be able to keep up the dual bar and complete the hard trial in the second time we face the Ram form. So it's pretty much straightforward here. Replacing block damage on Aptoide, waiting for the increased accuracy, which Bambus just placed. And now we're just cranking out those debuffs to get the first trial out of the way. It was a little bit tricky, but nothing, it's not hard with this team to do this. It really felt easy. Fina makes the Ram form a walk in the park, basically. And then going out of the Ram form, we already had 7 trials done on the Ram form. That's 7 out of 9. Only the dual bar target and the stun trial, which we can't do in the first cycle, are left to do in the second cycle. I actually missed the stun trial, but it's okay. It's not that important. It would be cool for my personal record, but other than that, it's not that important. The most important part is that we deal 8 million damage to the dual bar. Now, one thing I want to mention is that Aptoide, his second form, is really bad in general. But for this team or for Chimera, it is unbelievably good because he has the increased defense on this form. He has the continuous heals, which, brings a little bit more heal to the team. And sometimes it really, was getting dangerous because my champions were low HP. So that continuous heal or these continuous heals that he's placing are really helping sometimes, believe it or not. But the most important part that he does on his second form is the increased defense, which we need for the line form trial, okay? We need to damage the Chimera with increased defense on while we have 6 debuffs on the Chimera on the line form, and then the shield trial, and then the block damage trial. And it is really interesting to me how well this second form works here, okay? Normally I wouldn't even consider to book it, but I don't need to book it, right? I don't need to book it because I can reset him with Fina all the time. So I can place the increased defense all over again every time I reset him. But I thought about it, okay? I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it. So another thing that is important to know, I had Bambus also with the highest defense here. So he's getting targeted by the line form. There's no real reason for that. You can pretty much give anybody the highest defense, but the trick here really is to not have crazy defense, because if you have too much defense, you don't get enough damage. Why am I saying that? Because we need to absorb damage with shield. We need to block damage with the block damage buff. And I don't want to have crazy defense stats like 5k defense, because that would minimize the amount of damage I would absorb with shield or block damage, and completing these trials would be a lot harder. So you kind of have to find a sweet spot, and I found a sweet spot around like 4k defense. That's my Bambus is at 4.2k defense, and then everybody is lower than that. Some of them are even lower than 4k, and it really works well. And I think this is the sweet spot where you want to be at. So as you can see right here, Bambus got killed, but that's fine. We already absorbed 110k damage from the shields because Bambus got killed, and then the line form attacked everyone else. All of them had shield buffs still, and that's where that absorb came from. So yeah, luckily we can just revive straight away and then keep going like nothing happened. Now, another thing that I did here is not place decrease attack, okay? I don't want to place decrease attack here because, like I said, I want to get, as stupid as it sounds, I want to get as much damage as possible without dying. That is the thing that you want to do here. And that makes those trials easier to do. The absorb damage with shields or block damage with the block damage buff. And then obviously a cleanse helps a lot here, okay? Basically, we're trying to place the shield with Bambus while he has the Hunter's Gaze, and then we're trying to cleanse it off, cleanse the Hunter's Gaze off, and that way the line form will attack the target that had Hunter's Gaze, and you will absorb damage. That's basically the main strategy here. Now here, before the line form uses this skill, this is the only time that I'm placing the increase attack, because it also gives me turn meter boost because of Fina, right? So that's the only time when I'm placing it, because when the line form is using this skill, the A3, it's removing the decrease attack, as you can see. We absorbed enough damage and we got the trial done as well. So now we just gotta block damage using block damage buffs, okay? And we only have Fina with a single target block damage, and we gotta utilize it really smart, okay? We gotta play this smart here. Also, we don't want to place any decrease attack. It will minimize the damage, which we don't want, okay? So as you can see, Bambus has the Hunter's Gaze. So whoever your line target is with the highest defense, you want to place that block damage on that target, And you want to make sure that you have the cleanse ready, because if the Hunter's Gaze is still on your line target, the line will just ignore the block damage and you won't block any damage. Okay, so now with one A1 of the line form, we already got 140k damage blocked. Let's take a look at that again. Okay, we got the block damage, and we got the cleanse ready from Galatier. We're cleansing. Hunter's Gaze is gone, and now his passive kicks in. Boom, A1, 140k damage. Okay, that's pretty much how we are doing this. Now we don't have enough time here in the first line cycle to complete this whole thing, but we want to get as much damage blocked as possible so we are prepared for the second time. Okay. All right, we got 11 trials done going into the Viper form, and this is where it gets really interesting when it comes to Bambus, because he does these crazy reflects. Okay, that's really something where he surprised me that it actually works. There's one thing that I missed here, which is quite funny. So, as you can see, I swapped forms with Aptoide. I have him in the second form. I placed the continuous heals to bring more heal survivability to my team so I can survive the Viper form transition. That was kind of the goal here, or why I swapped forms. And then I used the A1 with him. Now I forgot that he's placing that increased accuracy on the A1 on your champion with the highest accuracy. So now Bambus got increased accuracy before going into the Viper form. And this will now be very interesting once we do the transition. So let's see what happens. So we're going into the Viper form. The Viper form stole the increased accuracy. Everybody gets poisons. You can see it here. Target changed. Okay, target change is popping up. Target change, target change, target change. And that means that Bambus is taking the poisons and the poison sensitivity, or one poison, actually two. So he's taking two poison sensitivities. As you can see, Galatier doesn't have one and Lydia doesn't have one. He's transferring one to the Viper form and keeping one on himself. He only can place one poison sensitivity on the Viper form. Then he's taking as many poisons as he can and he's transferring all the poisons to the Viper form. Okay? And that's what happened here. And now we got a full debuff bar of poisons, which was not planned, okay? My plan was that he's transferring the poisons from himself and Aptoide, okay? But because of that increased accuracy, my Fina and my Galatier didn't have enough resistance. But yeah, anyway, now I have also some poisons left on my team. But now I can't place any debuffs, okay? I can't place any debuffs, and it really got me struggling a little bit because I didn't know, okay, what am I going to do yet? But I just decided to use A1s. And the most important part here, though, is that you don't cleanse in this team, okay? Don't cleanse. If you have a poison activation champion, and you can just go and activate those poisons, and you got that poison trial out of the way. That is the best case scenario. You want to get this poison trial out of the way as fast as possible in the first 2 turns before 27 ends. Before turn 27 ends, you want to get the poison trial done in the best case scenario, because then you also have another 3 turns that you can survive for the second trial. Okay, that was kind of like the thing that you can't do here. And the only way to place poisons is with Panda's passive. But now if we would cleanse them and put the block debuffs up, there would be no way that the Panda gets any poisons. All right, so we need to play with his passive right here, okay? And in a second you will see something really funny, because the Viper form, every time it takes a turn, it will take all poisons from the Viper form and put it onto your team. Okay? But the thing is, we have Bambus. So what's happening is the Viper form is trying to place poisons on us, But all of them debuffs, all of them poisons are getting redirected to the panda, and panda is sending them back to the viper form. And I think this is this is really funny. It's really funny. Now we got another 10 poisons on him again. I mean, what else is there to say? He's absolutely amazing now for this poison trial. If you run a poison activation champion, you can pretty much do it in the first turn. Okay? You can pretty much do it in the first turn. You transfer all the poisons, activate, done. But here I don't have a poison activation champion, so I had to play around with it and, you know, with the transfer. But now we got to break the cycle, because if I don't break the cycle here, we will fill up the debuff bar again and I can't progress the other trials. So now I decided to cleanse with Galateer and break this poison transferring so we can keep going. And the thing is, we only need 10 ticks of poisons, okay? We only need 10 ticks. We already got 9 from the first turn, right? We got the poison sensitivity plus 9 poison debuffs. And then we only needed 1 more tick, which happened just now. And now we can keep going. Now it's basically all about trial number 1, because that's where the mythical mats are. The 4-star assault is on trial number 2. The good thing if you have a poison activation champ is that if you complete it before the second turn ends, you can complete this trial as well, keep all your champions alive for 3 Chimera turns, and then do the hard trial on the second time you face the Viper form. But now I cannot complete this trial number 2, right here, the normal one. I cannot do this in the first cycle, and that's why I'm focusing on the block active skills trial, and I'm trying to progress there. And it's also pretty much straightforward, you know, placing the block active skills with Lydia, just damaging, and then HP burn with Aptoide and so on, and just doing damage. That's the easy part. Now, turn 35, we're going into the second cycle of the Ram form. We got 14 trials done already. It is going great, pretty much perfect. And now we need to place block damage on Bambus, which we did, because he will be targeted by the ramp form and we want him to survive. Now, why did I give Bambus the lowest crit damage? There's a reason for that, because we need to deal 8 million damage to the ramp form. So there were 2 options, right? Lydia or Bambus. And I decided for Bambus because he's not really pushing our damage that much, at least not as much as Lydia. So he can still place the decreased speed with his A1, which is important to slow the ramp form down. We are taking more turns. Lydia is placing the increased speed, the decreased defense, the weaken. Now the thing is also, which I didn't mention yet, if your champion is dueled, like here, if he's a dual target, he's like provoked. So you cannot use any skills. He will just A1 every time he takes a turn. Okay, so that way I was still able to place a decreased defense, weaken, increase speed, you know, get more turns, and still place the decreased defense with Bambus his A1 and slow the Chimera down. And that pretty much made sure that I was able to do 8 million damage with Aptoide. So yeah, here on turn 38, I was almost done already. Aptoide is hitting for like 2 million damage. You know, with all the buffs, all the debuffs, and he stacked up his passive to the maximum, and now he's, you know, he's killing himself, but he completed it with the last hit, and that was pretty much the end of the story for the Ram form. Now the second line form was pretty much the same thing that I did in, you know, the last turns of the first time I faced the line form. Have the block damage up on the panda, cleanse the hunter's gaze, and force the line form to A1 your line target, and that was pretty much how I did that. Now, the second time I faced the Viper form, this was actually a little bit tricky, but I tried to utilize the reflect of the panda to fill up the debuff bar, because now we need to deal damage while we have 10 debuffs on the Viper form and no block active skills. So the Viper form is using all the skills. In the next turn, it would try to transfer all the debuffs. And I was thinking, man, I need really to put up the block debuffs because otherwise I will get debuffed a lot. But I didn't think about that. The panda will just reflect the debuffs back. That's really what would have happened. Also, another thing that I would probably avoid to do next time is place a decrease accuracy and decrease attack on this form, because the only way that you get one of your champions killed here, which I have to do so I can revive and do the revive trial, decreasing the attack doesn't help here, and decreasing the accuracy also doesn't help, because then I'm just resisting everything that the Viper does and my champions are not dying. That was kind of like the issue here. So again, you don't want to weaken the Viper form too much. All right, you don't want the Viper form to deal less damage, so that way you can still let one of your champions die. As stupid as this sounds, but you have to do it if you want to do this trial with this team. You have to let the Viper form kill one of your champions. Here I'm counting the debuffs because I need 10 debuffs, right? Yeah, it's like one more. I'm at 9, and then I got the trial pretty much done in one hit. So now I'm missing the block buffs from Lydia, which I can place. Also, pretty important part. If you have 9 debuffs and no block buffs, no block active skills, Lydia will place the block buffs first before the block active skills, which is really important to know for this. Alright, so 9 debuffs, using Lydia A3, placing the block buffs, and now all I have to do is deal 2 million damage. Or 1.4. I should have used the A3 here. That would have been the better option. But yeah, that was it. 21 trials. That was the last trial that I did. And now I theoretically only had to revive one of my champions. But as you can see, I'm just resisting everything. And, I can't kill my champions. That was kind of like the problem. I really can't kill them. So the decreased attack and the decreased accuracy kept my champions alive. I tried to do it. Right here you can see it. Normally with the A2, the Viper form would try to transfer all these debuffs. So now let's see. Again, I totally forgot about the passive from the panda. Alright, so now the Viper should take a turn. There we go. So as you can see, the targets changed, the debuffs changed. Nobody got debuffed. The others resisted it because we have to decrease accuracy. And yeah, I wasn't able to kill my champions, and that's why I couldn't get the 4-star assault. In the end, we almost got 4 billion clash points as well, which is huge if you can do this while also getting the 25 mats. That is kind of like the next step, pushing your clash points, getting that 8 billion per week. And I'm happy I can do it with this team. Now, I didn't hit the 4 billion exactly. I was at 3.9392 clash points with 21 trials. And then here you can see the rewards. 3-star assault and 25 mythical mats. Gemstone, 22 legendary mats as well. 41 epic and 57 rare ones. And I think I missed 8 legendary on the ram form, 8 legendary mats, as well as the 4-star assault. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this. The best team I have so far, the most amount of trials I have ever done, 21 trials, almost 23. Maybe I can still do it. I don't know. I have 1 key left, so I'm going to try to do 23. Bambus, definitely top tier now, top tier support. One of the best champions for Chimera when it comes to utility. Really amazing, surprised me, was worth all the books, all the investment, and I can't wait to use him even more. All right, let's talk about the gear. Here we have Aptoide in a 6-piece Merciless set and a Zeal set, as well as a Stone Cleaver piece for that additional attack. And these are the stats. 8.3k attack, 241 speed, 76 crit rate. You only need 70% with Fina, 370% crit damage, and 372 accuracy. You're fine with like 325, 350 because he's ignoring resistance. And I actually want to highlight this real quick, how good pieces are like this. This is one of my best attack rings for Dark Elves. And the reason why is because I have only, I have a single roll here, but we get that extra 10% attack, which is like 1.5 rolls basically, right? So this ring gives me 22% plus 7. It's like a triple roll basically, all right? Then I had the Erratic Coronet on him with Boss Slayer and Target Smash. Because we have that increased accuracy, this will give us another 5% more damage. He's completely booked. The second form is not. Nature's Wrath, 5-star Blessing. And then here are the Masteries. Galathier in a Relentless set. Try to make him as fast as possible in a Relentless set. 96k HP. Lower than 4k defense. Really tried to keep the defense low, but it's hard to do. He has decent base defense, so it was really hard to keep it low. 374 speed, 522 resistance, which is not ideal. You want to be at like 600 to resist the Viper form, something like that, but it worked. Okay, this is good enough for me, but I would love to get it up a little bit more. Chrysalid of Rebirth, absolutely insane relic. Has a 100% chance of getting an extra turn when reviving allies. Helps so much. Temporal Chains is just for, PvP purposes. He's completely booked, both forms, and these are the Masteries. Fina in a 9-piece protection set. 76k HP, 3.9k defense. Again, I always try to hit like 3.9, 4k at max with, the other champions that are not the line target. 360 speed, 577 resistance. You don't need any accuracy with her. Purge Shadow Relic. This is amazing if she gets extra turns while using her A1, so she can use her A3 again and then her A2 again. So many extra turns and turn meter boost, and just an amazing champion. She has intimidating presence, completely booked. Oh, not completely booked, the A1 is not, but it also doesn't really matter. The most important part is the A2 and A3. And then I went with War Master, and these are the Masteries. Lydia is in a 9-piece Feral set. For every debuff she's placing, we're getting 5% more damage, 81k HP, 3.6k defense, as you can see, relatively low for a 6-star soul, 345 speed, and 498 accuracy. 475 is the minimum you want to have, and then everything above that is good, but you don't want to get too high, like 550 is where I would stop getting accuracy. And yeah, also not bad to have resistance on her if you can manage to do it. Also have the Purge Shadow Relic on her, which helps to cycle her skills back. Completely booked. Brimstone in this case, because we have Fina, we don't need the True Fear, because we have that block damage on Aphtodis at all times. We don't get any reflect, besides on the supports a little bit, but we don't need the True Fear. We need the Brimstone. I actually forgot to mention that this is really an important part to have Brimstone in this team, because the normal trial on trials number 1 is to deal damage with max HP, HP burn, poisons, and so on. And this really gets it done real quick. Okay, that's like 2 smite procs and it's done. And this was really the key. This was the key to do this. And then here are the Masteries, War Master, Lasting Gifts, and Master Hexer. Last but not least, we have Bambus 4-leaf, the star of the show, 9-piece Feral set as well, 5% more damage for every debuff, 96k HP almost, 4.2, almost 4.3k defense, a little bit too high for my taste. I could go down like another 200 defense, but it's just the gear that I have. 343 speed, and 506 accuracy is all I care about. I want to be above 475 because I want him to place debuffs. Now, this is a very interesting part. I gave him the Compass of Anaxia, which is a Grim Forest relic. Now, what does it do? Whenever the wearer is under a crowd control debuff, all turn meter fill effects increase the wearer's turn meter by an additional 20%. Interesting, right? Because he is placing sleep on him every time he takes a turn. That means he's under crowd control debuffs at all times. So that means this will take effect at all times, okay? I didn't even level it up. So if I would level it up to, max level here on rank 2, I would get this bonus to 30%. But it wasn't really necessary, and I wanted to test it out first before I upgraded. But I think I will do this because it is insane on him. The synergy is quite amazing. I have so much turn meter fill also in this team with Galatier, Fina. Every time I place buffs, I'm getting turn meter fills, and this is just amazing for it. Then I also have the invigorated gemstone, and he's just getting so much turn meter and taking turns. More than the other champions. All right, so that is really, really noticeable and a great synergy. He's completely booked. I actually didn't fully book his A1 yesterday on stream, but I decided to do it because, just getting that 100% chance to place a decreased speed it's a big difference. Okay, you want to place a decreased speed at all times if you can, unless it gets resisted by a 3% chance or whatever. But you really want to get that 100% chance. And yeah, other than that, you really need to book him completely, get the cooldowns down. The debuffs and buffs chances are very important. And then here are the masteries as well: Wall Master, Lasting Gifts, and Master Hexer. So yeah, guys, that's been pretty much it for this video. I think Bambus entered the Chimera meta now with a big statement. He's definitely one of the best supports with the transferring of the debuffs on the Viper form, but just in general, transferring debuffs is amazing. 6 buffs and debuffs in total. Absolute beast. I love it. I love rebalances like this. I hope more of it happens. A lot of champions are very power crapped and are completely useless sitting in the world. Bambus was one of them, and now he has a spot to shine, and it's a really important spot to shine. So yeah, shout out to Plarium for doing such an amazing job with this rebalance. Also, Garo was amazing, but yeah, I really loved this one on Bambus. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. It really goes a long way. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.